This week on Pivot with Purpose, I felt like it was him taunting me. I never called the police. There was no video of him. It takes a video like that for people to believe it and for people to turn on you. But it's also a reminder to me that, like, damn, you really had me fucked up. Hey friend, you're listening to Pivot with Purpose. This is my show where I pivoted from shit I'm 30, where I was dreading turning 30. I had a failed marriage, failed engagement after that, and I don't have a relationship with my immediate family. But through it all, I came out the other side with a thriving business, an unexpected radio morning show of my own, and a platform where I can reach millions of people and help them walk in their truth. I am now celebrating every step of my journey into continuously finding my purpose, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Sometimes this journey looks like shit, and it probably sounds even worse, but it's still our journey, and I'm learning right along with you to enjoy it. There's always a rainbow after the rain falls. Now, if you need advice in pivoting in any aspect of your life, relationships, career, spirituality, send your questions or story to askcarlawomares@gmail.com or shoot me a DM at Carla Womares. Now, let's start the show. All right, so I'm finally back. Welcome back to another episode of Pivot. I am at home, and if I'm completely honest, I feel like I've just been slammed with work. I've been overwhelmed. So many different things, all good, but sometimes even like the fear of success just gets to me sometimes. And here I am. Showing up, and I'm going to make it a thing. You know, I've been having my own insecurities with recording at home, and y'all, I spent money in this room, putting it together, getting it designed, and I don't even need all of this. If I'm completely honest, I'm telling people every day, you don't need all of this, yet I get like in this frozen mode of recording because I don't know for what. I feel insecure at times. I feel like I'm helping other people tell their stories, so why should I tell mine? It's a lot, but fuck it. Here I am. I'm back. Welcome. I'm going to do more like life updates and what's going on with me, right? We're pivoting. I'm going to have some guests coming on. I'm thinking about bringing on Dex on a monthly basis, bringing on Paola more often. It's just like, let's have conversations because we're constantly changing and going through things. And I just want to have a good time. Honestly, it should be like girl talk and at the same time, like, serious shit, but with a twist. I don't know where I want this, and I feel like there's a pivot within pivot. So let's keep going because we're going to do it with purpose, of course. Well, anyway, let's talk about what everybody is talking about right now, and I don't mind bringing it up because this whole Diddy situation, right? Cassie and Diddy has been going on now for a couple of months, ever since that lawsuit came forward, and there's a lot of the same angle going around of, you know, oh my gosh, you did it for money, or the 30 million or the X, Y, and Z. But for those months that people were putting out allegations, we remember everybody was just kind of like blaming Cassie, saying it wasn't real, all because if we really are honest with ourselves, Diddy is someone that, although very cocky, is very successful. He's rich. He can be very charismatic. He can be funny. It seems like he's a nice dad. He has his daughters and his sons, and he's a family man. And it just looks all so beautiful. So why would anyone ever come up with the idea that he could be a monster behind closed doors? And that, to me, is the biggest red flag for anyone that ever says that. And it's because monsters usually aren't monsters in the open. It's usually behind closed doors. And there is someone who said that to me when it happened to me. And I will talk a little bit more about that later. But I don't blame anyone who knows someone personally, has never seen them be crazy monsters, and they don't believe it right away, right? Or sometimes ever. So let's continue to talk about this subject. Today, it'll be from my point of view and my opinion and what happened to me that day and how I saw it and how it affected me. Because like myself, millions of other women saw themselves in that video. And that doesn't even make me feel good saying it, because how unfortunate, how disgusting, how sad how depressing that so many women, and in this instance, I'm only talking about women because I do understand that men also go through this. But that as women, you have to experience this. And when I'm talking about this today, I'm not talking about the fight that you might have had with your boyfriend back in the day because he cheated or because y'all happened to have put hands on each other, which again, I have experienced both. I was hell in my 20s. I did things that I can't take back and I have apologized for. But there is something about growing and evolving and apologizing and taking accountability, like for real, not just in words, but really taking accountability for your actions and knowing that some of it could have came from past trauma. Well, that was 6'6", babe. And I'll tell you guys in a little bit why I answered that and how it's been going. What was I saying? Okay, taking accountability for what you've done in the past, growing, evolving, becoming better people. That's a thing as well, but that's not what we're talking about today. Today we're talking about like true sick, sadistic psychopaths that you might have encountered that don't give a damn about anyone's feelings, including those that they are abusing. And this is not just rich and powerful man, which is another thing that I've been seeing around. It's like, oh, well, if she ain't want his money or she liked the lifestyle. So many men feel that rich and powerful and they don't have anything to their name. So many men are abusers just like him and have a regular job making $30,000, $40,000 a year. So many men are like him and, are working as CEOs, and women just have, or their families just have a regular lifestyle, nothing like fancy with bells and whistles. So it doesn't mean that this is only happening to these rich and powerful men and women are falling into it because of money. By the time that this abuse happens, money does not matter. There is no amount of money. There's no amount of vacation. There's not amount of Chanel or Birkin bags or Louboutins or Chanel shoes or Giuseppe's. None of it matters because you're not even thinking about all that. You're broken down and your dignity is gone. That, again, this has nothing to do with money or status. Now, I don't know when you saw this video or where you were, but I will forever remember where I was when I saw this video because we watch TV all the time and there are scenes that are disturbing and we hear of stories. I mean, hell, we have these phones on our hands constantly. And on these phones, we see fights and domestic violence and surveillance cameras. There was something about this video. So I was in New York. And the reason why I was in New York, it was some crazy sexcapade that I'll tell you guys about it. Maybe, I don't know when. But I come back home and 66 Bay is here and we're talking about everything that happened and we had a really good morning. We hung out, we did our thing. We were about to start cooking. I was about to start cooking. He was here. We were having a super chilled Friday and my friend Gina sends me a text message. I see the text message on the counter and I open it because it says something like some Raylan's video, Diddy. We've been talking about Diddy for months now, months now. So I open it and I see the CNN clip and I watch the video. Him and I are right next to each other. I'm standing up by the kitchen counter. He's sitting down and we watch the video. Fine. He's saying his commentary. I'm saying my commentary behind the video, but I'm watching this video on my phone and I think I'm okay. But I'm looking at it and I'm like, damn, this is bad. This is really bad. I'm watching him kick her. I'm watching him throw things. I'm watching her just broken and trying to run, not even being able to put her shoes on. And I see that face and that spirit of just, I am tired. I'm tired, but I'm scared. I'm trying, but what more can I do? There's nothing I can do to get away from this man. There's nothing that I can do. So I turn off the phone. It turns off and we're looking at each other. I'm like, yeah, that was really bad. And I'm about to stir this rice. I'm making rice and chorizo. And I'm about to stir this rice because it's drying up. And all of a sudden, it was like something came over me. I couldn't breathe. My body just went into complete and total shock. And I just felt the tears coming out of my eyes. And I just turned around and I am so mad at myself because I'm like, all right, control it. Control it. You've been paying all this money in therapy. It's been 2 years. It's fine. Like, you're fine. Control it. I can't control it. And the more I tell myself to control it, the more I'm losing it. So I just jet to my room and I'm walking as fast as I can and I'm holding my face and I'm just like, please, please, Carla, just like calm down, calm down. I get in the bathroom and it just starts coming out and I'm wailing and I'm crying and I can't breathe. And I don't know how long it took, but I felt like 6'6" Bay's like hands like on me. I'm not sure if it was on my shoulders or on my back. I just know that he was like holding me somewhere behind me. And I just kept holding my face and I'm telling myself, please stop crying. Please stop crying. Just, what is wrong right now? What are you feeling? And what I was feeling at the moment was the fact that that man in that video is the same man in so many people's lives. The way they moved, the way you can see screaming. You don't have to hear what he's saying, but you can feel the words when it happened to you. That kicking, that dragging, the dragging of her body literally sent chills up my spine every time that it was replaying in my mind. Because again, the way they move when they lose their shit like that, that's a demon, honestly. To me, that is just a demon inside of them and is the same demon in every single one of them. They move the same way. They talk the same way. They do everything the same. And all I saw myself was there. And I've never shared pictures, voice notes, nothing like that publicly, because when it happened to me and I decided to speak up about the fact that I was in an abusive relationship with somebody that was semi-known, I knew that no matter what, no one would believe me. And this video and the whole Cassie situation reassured me of that. So I felt embarrassed right away. It was embarrassment because 6'6" Bays here, we just had a great day. We spent the entire day together and I'm like, what's going on? So I am embarrassed, but I also felt validated when I turned around and I just cried on his chest. And I'm like, okay, it's been almost a year since him and I have been, talking and spending time together. But it doesn't take away from the fact that this is such a heavy topic and such a heavy thing for someone to have to experience and to realize that this is never going to go away. And I think that's what makes me the most emotional, knowing that this isn't going to go away. So in the midst of all of this, I finally washed my face. I calmed down. We come back to the kitchen and I tell him, I'm like, unfortunately, this is something that so many women experience. It's not just him, and it's sickening. And you're watching it now and you're angry. And I'm sure so many other people are angry. And it's just the reality of it that I have a reminder every day with my son of what I went through, but also of what I was able to overcome. So just conflicting feelings there. And he went home. I picked up Psalm. He was home. It was time to go to bed. I go to bed, but I can't sleep. There's nothing in me that can sleep. I'm up and I'm just thinking and journaling. When I get a notification on my phone, I usually have my phone in DND, so I don't see it right away. But when I go to my text messages, I see this message and it's from Cash App. A little backstory here. My son's father and I, we have zero communication. He doesn't help financially at all, like zero. Not a diaper, not a banana. Y'all know Psalm loves bananas. So not a banana, not a muffin, not a diaper, not daycare, not gas for the car that takes him to the doctor, not health insurance, not his dentist appointments, not shoes, socks. You get the point. Nothing. He helps with absolutely nothing. We have no communication. My child, who's 3.5 years old, does not know who his father is. We spent a year and a month with him from when my son was born. And after that, it's just nothing. He showed up for his second birthday for a couple of days. Never again did we see him. Have we had communication with him? Psalm is now 3.5. So that being said, on February 20th, I received a $100 Cash App from him. That was this year, 2024. Why did I receive that? Because his first baby mom, so Erica, which on the show, actually had a conversation with his new baby mama. Y'all know I believe I already spoke about it on the podcast, but he has a daughter on the way, and he's living with a new woman. It's like watching our relationship, but just like the Diddy's discount version on social media. So if if I had ever seen something I haven't seen in so long, because it's actually sad to see, but it's literally just playing out exactly the way that we did everything that we did together. Again, just the Diddy's discount version. So that day I had received $100 because they had a conversation, and basically she kind of told her everything about him, the truth, like what's going on, but the woman was in complete and total denial. And I don't blame her. I don't blame her for thinking that she's different. I don't blame her for thinking that he's going to do better with her. I don't blame her for having hope. I don't blame her for being in love, because they know what to do and what to say. But that week or that day, I received a Cash App, and I'm sure it's because she went back home and like asked all these questions, and he's like, "Oh no, I'm gonna take care of it. Watch, I'm sending money. Got $100." Wow. So thank you for that. At 11:31 p.m., the night of the Diddy video, I received another $100 Cash App, and I knew immediately what that was. And if you are listening to this and you experience something like that, let me know, because he is one of 3 men that I know that within the day of that video dropping, they did something. I knew that $100 was to remind me that he was still around. It's like a ruminating. It's to let me know, yeah, I stripped you of your dignity. It's like to remind me that he's there. It's like to kind of say to himself, oh, but look at me. For him, it's like, oh, look at me. I take care of mine. I help when I can. I'm down. I can't do nothing right now. I ain't got no feet, because y'all know I ain't got no feet. But I'm doing my best. Look at me. I'm trying. You see, Diddy, that shit is disgusting and it's sad, but look at me. I'm trying. And it's like, that was you too. That was you too, not just to me, but to multiple women. And it was just a reminder that I never called the police, why I never called the police, and that there was no video of him. That it takes a video like that for people to believe it and for people to turn on you. And I don't have a video like that. I may have pictures. I may have conversations and audio. I don't have a video. So I felt like it was him taunting me. I felt like it was him trying to intimidate me again. And you can't do that to me, but it's also a reminder to me that, like, damn, you really had me fucked up. You really had me in a place where I thought that I couldn't leave. I felt incarcerated in my home. That September 2021 incident that happened, which is the worst of a few of them. That day, my fear of calling the police was unbearable. Like literally unbearable. It's like no one's going to believe me. Plus the shame. Plus it's like the police is going to get here and either we're going to have a shootout. In my mind, we're either going to have a shootout because he has my guns, or 2, the cops are going to come. He's going to charm them. He's going to make them laugh. He's going to tell them who he is. He's going to tell them who he works for. He's going to tell them what he does. And the cops are going to walk away, just like it's happened before with other women. He is too charming. And at the time, I'm not bruised up yet. The bruises don't show up for a couple of hours. So what's going to happen here? That's the fear. I'm also in a home that's completely isolated and nobody can hear me. And as I'm watching that video, it brings me back to that day. But then fast forward to December when we go to this wedding in California, and he does the exact same thing in a hotel room where his employer is just a couple of doors down and they can't hear me screaming. They can't hear the hits. They can't hear the dragging me out the door. They can't hear any of that. And then you're wondering, do they really do that in public? Yes, because it's already second nature to them in private. So when they're in public, they don't think about it. Or they think whoever's here with me is going to cover it up. Whoever's here is going to cover it up because they have this sense of entitlement of like king. They think they are king. So I have a friend that the next day received some money from the father of their child who they haven't spoken in forever. I have another friend who received an email the day after from another abuser. And it's like, what are they thinking? Who sends these newsletters out? I don't really know. So I reached out to somebody who didn't believe me when I first told them. When I first came back to Florida, I don't know if you guys remember in 2022, if you've been listening for that long, I wasn't really active on my podcast because he wanted me to do a pod with him. He knew the value of me before I knew the value in me. And I had come back. I wasn't really recording. And I had asked him to stop talking about me publicly. So I made a phone, but he didn't stop. He didn't stop talking about me publicly. And it was all jokes. Everything was a fucking joke. And I remember I called somebody and I asked for it to be stopped and for it to just completely stop. This is not a joke. This is not games. This is my life. I need it to stop. And I knew immediately that they didn't believe me. We had a second conversation and I said some things. I still didn't expose everything, but I remember that person telling me, I've just never seen him be aggressive towards women. You know, I've never, that's just not who I know. And it was at that moment that I knew without evidence, no one's going to believe me. It doesn't matter. I can show myself looking like Rihanna. I can show a video of myself not being able to move, but it doesn't matter. They're not seeing that monster. They're not going to believe me. That's when I knew I had to keep moving on. And my thing moving forward wasn't going to be to try to destroy him and bring him down and expose him because it didn't matter what I said. No one would believe it because they're soft-spoken. They are charming. They are powerful in their own way, you know, or they have powerful people around them. But I had the conversation and I really had that conversation with that person. And then the one thing I do remember was that they listened. Although they told me I don't know, I've never seen them act this way. They gave me the time to listen and then they paid attention. I just prayed. I'm like, they might not believe me right now. And I get it. If someone comes to me and tells me my homegirl Dex is beating the shit out of them and, you know, sexually abusing them and taking their money and all this stuff, I'd be like, Dex? Like, are we talking about the right person here? And I wouldn't believe it, right? So I absolutely get it because these monsters could be anybody. And my bad, Dex. I didn't mean to bring you up, but she's one of the most purest, kindest people that I know. So it's like, what? I don't know. I don't know if I would see that. And that's why I bring her up because it's someone that you really love. You feel like you're close to, you feel like you know them. And I can understand how you wouldn't believe it. But I brought myself to 2 years later, send that person a text message and just say thank you because the trajectory of my life really moved in a way because of decisions that they made after we had that conversation. They might have not believed me, but they listened. And if you're listening to this and you're not the abused or you're not the victim or the survivor, and someone comes to you and tells you something, although you may not believe it right away, just listen. Listen, and when that phone call or that conversation ends, I would say pay attention. Start asking questions. Start digging a little bit deeper on who that person that you're associating with is, because that will tell you everything you need to know. And I felt like I just had to say thank you. Say thank you because Cassie publicly, with millions and millions of people, was berated and told she was lying. So then when this video comes out, for all of those people to be like, oh shit, maybe she will tell the truth. Oh, that's disgusting. Well, that's fucked up. Fuck Diddy. Fuck that. But it took for them to see a video. And for this person, he didn't have to see a video. He just paid attention. He just paid attention and asked questions. And that's something that anybody can do. Anybody can do that. If somebody tells you they're being abused, you're more with it. You're well within your right to question it, right? And to be like, I don't know. But also you can say, I'm not sure, but let me pay attention. I'm not sure, but how can I help? I'm not sure, but let's get to the bottom of this. If it affects you in your life, you know, or if it's somebody who you really love. So moving forward, I know that this situation with Diddy will probably be forgotten. The next news will come. Cardi will probably get into another fight with Offset, and Doja Cat will probably do something crazy, and Lil Nas X will probably be caught sucking a dick in public. I don't know. A million things in the world will happen. Trump is coming back. It's an election year, so a lot of things will be happening there as well. This will be forgotten. Maybe not completely forgotten, but it won't be hitting people as hard. And then more of these abused women will be being abused in their home, and people will forget how traumatizing that video was. And that's what their family members or friends are going through. Now, with that being said, I do want to talk about that apology that he made because it's such a classic narcissist apology that I've heard time and time again. Let's start with the self-deprecation. Do y'all remember? And again, if y'all don't know who my ex is or any of the stuff that I'm referring to, I don't know. Ask somebody that might listen to this podcast, talk to somebody, because I'm not gonna link it. I'm not gonna say the names, like none of that. But I remember that my ex went online and he was on a podcast and he decided to be like, at first, oh no, it's me. It's not her, it's me. I need a traditional woman. We broke up because I just need tradition. I need a woman that's at home, a homemaker. And it's like, huh? Okay, fine. And then it's like, nah, it's me. I'm a narcissist. He knew that he was diagnosed with NPD, narcissistic personality disorder. He knew this. But he decided to use it as a way of like, oh, I'm a narcissist. Like, let's laugh about it. Apparently that's what I am, but I'm admitting it. I'm coming forth with this before anybody else does. So, you can't use it against me, because sometimes people say, tell your truth so your truth can't be used against you. They do that very, very well. And then when we talk about self-deprecation, basically that is the act of reprimanding yourself by you start belittling, fuck the word, making yourself smaller. You start undervaluing yourself. And then the code words, baby, therapy. Ooh, I'm gonna go to therapy. I've been to therapy. I'm working on myself. Rehab. I had an issue. I went to rehab. Rehab for what? First of all, Diddy's rehab. What did you go to rehab for? You didn't even say what you went to rehab for. Did you have an alcohol problem? Did you go to rehab for narcissism? Did you go to rehab for abuse? Like, what? Is there any of those? I don't know. And then the kicker here for me, God, boy. Don't they love to use God? I don't know what God they be talking about, because what I know is that they're not talking about the God that I talk to, the Holy Trinity. God, his son, the Holy Spirit. That is not who y'all are talking to. That is not who y'all know, because that is one of the biggest thing that narcissists use. And that is like, God got us. It's like this soft spoken, like, oh, I hate it. It was disgusting. I hate when I do things like that. I hate watching it. I hate doing this to you. Do you think that I love hitting you? Do you think that I like this? I hate it. I don't ever want to do this. And I have messages literally saying that. Also, the posts that he posted before, because he denied all of it. He said he's never done any of that. And I remember him posting, and we all do. We saw where he was like, time will tell truth, or truth will come with time. And I decided to search my text messages, and I couldn't tell you, it was more than like 20 text messages when he would tell me after I left, time will tell. Oh yeah, time will tell who's who. Time will tell. Time will tell. And I'm thinking, time will tell exactly what I'm saying. Time will tell when you are literally living in poverty. Yes, time is telling when nothing is working out for you. Time is telling when you have no friends left. Time is telling when you are again isolating another woman. Time is telling when again you have nothing in your name. Time is telling again when now you have 2 children in this world that you don't take care of financially, emotionally, physically, nothing. Time is telling. Time will tell. Time told for Diddy. Time told for my ex. Time did tell. So if you're in this situation right now and you feel like you need to expose this person that's doing this to you, you feel like you need to speak up, my advice to you is shut the fuck up. Shut up. Move with your life. You have to move on and do certain things in a way where it's like, it's not vindictive, but have your evidence. Have your evidence ready. Don't come back then, because you'll look crazy. And that's kind of the stuff that I said when I was in the episode with Erica, where it's like when you try to expose them, you kind of just look crazier. Take, for example, my TK Kirkland interview. My goodness, when I tell you there's more than 10 million views and impressions on those videos, because they have been remixed and remade and it's all over YouTube, this calm man gets berated by this woman, and little do they know that I had an hour conversation with the mother of his youngest child. Little do they know that he is on child support. Little do they know that man has like nothing to his name, but a website that sells nothing. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it looks good. They're on a platform like the Breakfast Club, and they're going at the Improvs and the Funny Bones here and there doing shows. But like, do you really know who they are? Do you really know who they are? And that was part of my frustration, because it's like, you're lying. you're lying. But again, you guys see what you want to see. Like my ex talk about chicken farms. Not a chicken was ever sold. They talk about airsoft. Not a gun was ever like rented. They talk about resorts on swampland. They talk about Airbnbs on places that there's nothing there. They talk about building houses with their own hands. I'm currently building a room. They started less than 2 weeks ago and it's about to be done this week. It's taken 2 weeks, maybe take 2.5 weeks to build an entire room, closet, insulation, AC, like all of that. And you're going to tell me that it's been how many years and you haven't been able to build anything? What? It looks good. We talk about it, but there's just something about seeing results in someone. If y'all really pay attention to what people are really saying, you'll realize, maybe it's not true. Maybe they're full of shit. And that's why as a woman, as a survivor of someone like that, you have to move on with your life. They saw something in you that was beautiful, that had a light. They saw that in you. What does that mean? All that means is, baby girl, you're amazing. You have something that they wanted. Use it. Use your gifts. Continue on that job. Continue to make your money. Continue to be kind. It's going to be hard, but don't stoop down to their level. They're going to continue to have that miserable life. And it might look like they're doing all right. Do you know how annoying and frustrating it must have been for Cassie to see somebody like Diddy continue to grow and on all these big shows and making more money than ever and hitting the billionaires Forbes list and more records and more artists and more movies and more podcasts and showing off with Carisha and all these women that love him and having more kids. And you're like, this guy is a fucking monster. A fucking monster. And there's nothing you can do about it. We're also seeing the fact that people had already spoke up and no one ever believed them because again, people just need video evidence to believe that someone who they think is just so nice and they believe that they know could be such a monster because it's so unfathomable. Words today. Words are hard. Words are really, really hard. Basically, all that to say, their apologies are never an apology for the victim. It's just a way for them to save face. When they come to you and if they ask you, hey, did you put hands on somebody? They're going to be like, yeah, but they did this. But you know what I mean? Like, I really didn't like the fact that I did that. I've gone and gotten help. They always come up with something that you're like, okay, maybe they are sorry. Maybe it was a one-time thing. Maybe it was just something that they needed help for. And everybody loves a success story, right? Or like a come up story where you're like, you were really down and you were really low and you've gotten better or you were so depressed and now you're out of it. Everybody loves that fucking story. There's someone that I follow on social media that they are constantly going through these like rebrands and it's like, I'm so depressed and I lost myself and I'm going through so much hardship. Oh my God, look at me. Let me tell you how I got out of it. Oh my God, I'm so depressed again. Oh, let me tell you how I got out of it so you can do it too. And it's like, what are we doing right now? And not to say that we don't all have this roller coaster of a life. But people love the success story. So when you make yourself like you were down bad and then you're selling your come up, it's fucking money every time. It's like cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-motherfucking ching, you know? So the point to all is like people only care and really believe you when they can see it with their own eyes. And this weekend was tough. It was really tough for me. I'm really glad that I had the support system of my friends. I was able to talk to Paola about how I felt a little bit. I was really, really, really emotional for days. But I definitely, I do feel better now. I feel like after this, I'm never going to stop talking about it. That's why I love Ariel, why I love my friend Paola, why I love, women that speak up about what they've been through, because tell your story. Tell your story. If you don't like the way that I'm telling my story, you shouldn't have done those things, because I tell my story, the good and the bad. When I talk about people in my life, I talk about those that are amazing. And I also talk about those that weren't shit. I really do. That's just part of my life, and it relates to others and it helps others. And that is my calling here on earth. There's a calling of my producers to make sure that this gets over to you in a way that makes sense, and it's an audio experience and it's a storytelling that's part of it. That is their purpose on earth. There's my video editors like Kason. I am obsessed with him, and his purpose is to make sure that these clips that you guys see of our story are impactful, are entertaining, that are reached to the masses. And it's I can't do what he does. We all have a purpose, and my story is just told so these other people behind the scenes can package it up and give it to you and try to change your life or improve your day, whatever it may be. I don't know. I just know that there's something bigger to this. And if you are wherever you are and you feel like you have your story, it might not be a podcast that you need, but maybe you go to the Boys and Girls Club. Maybe you talk at prisons. Maybe you talk at schools. Maybe you have a small group in your church. Maybe you're just like that outspoken person in your group. That is your purpose. Use your voice, tell your story, and don't stop. Specifically, if you're a survivor of domestic violence, because there's a new person every single day going through it. Someone that had never gone through it last week is going through it today. Someone that yesterday was so happy got slapped today. Literally, it just happens like that. So tell your story so they know what you've been through, so they don't feel ashamed to leave. You know, that they don't feel that shame, and just know that you can leave. If you feel like people are going to look at you crazy because you were screaming from the top of the mountain that you love this person, and now you're like, oh my, this is terrible. Don't give a shit about that. Get yourself in that fucking, what's it called? A shelter, to call the Harbor House, call a friend, do what you got to do, but get out of that situation because your children are watching and you don't deserve it. And baby, ever since I have left, I have been on the up and up. The only person fucking me up right now is the IRS. The IRS is the only person fucking me up bad. And that's Jesus. But you know what? My accountant says that's a good problem to have. And you can have that same problem too. All I need you to do is really focus on what you love to do. Focus on where you need to be. Now, for me, this is 7 years in the making. It took some time where it slowed down some. But for us survivors, I feel like we have this extra fire under our asses to do better, right? It was like, you fucked with me for so long. You took every ounce of dignity that I had, but because I stood up for myself and I walked away, look at the blessings that I'm getting. I never did anything to anyone in a malicious way, in a vindictive way. I never tried to tear anybody down, and look at the blessings that continue to fall on me. It's just like a shower of blessings on a daily basis, even if there are hardships along the way, right? You know, there are times that I have issues with my kids or at work, or there's a fire with a podcast. I'm like, oh my God, we lost audio, we lost video. I might lose a client. Like, all these different things happen. But that does not mean that when I look at the bigger picture of my life, it is beautiful. It is beautiful. It is pinning out exactly how I was supposed to. And this is the life that they wish they had. And I'm talking about anyone who has done you dirty. Anyone who has been malicious towards you. Pay attention to their lives. Pay attention to where they are. Trust me, they are nowhere close to where they could be if they weren't such a shitty person. But you're going to fly, baby. Your wings are going to spread so wide, and you're going to get exactly where you need to go. Just be patient. Don't be vindictive, and do what you got to do. Now, if all of this somehow in some way inspires you and you're like, you know what? Maybe I need a podcast. I don't know. Maybe you do or maybe you don't. But May 29, 2024, I will be doing a free webinar. I haven't taught anything podcasting in 2 years. So like openly or publicly or whatever. So I'm doing this free webinar, launch your podcast in 30 days. I'm going to teach you exactly everything updated to 2024 of how everything works, from equipment to remote recording like I'm doing right now, to advertising, affiliates, to software, to publishing, to your launch strategy. All of that will be free. May 29th, 2024, 8 p.m. Eastern time. I'll put in the description, the link to get there. Sign up. It is limited seating, so y'all can all sign up. Once you come in, be there early, because if it taps out at a certain amount, then you can't come in and you'll just have to wait for a replay. So it was so nice talking to you guys again. I'll see you again next week. I do have a few episodes already pre-recorded, so I'll get those to you next week. Goodbye.